Every act of intimacy is rooted in your capacity to call upon God. Intimacy is when it becomes less of you and more of God. When it becomes less of you, like John the Baptist said in John chapter 3 verse 30, he must increase and I must decrease. The personality in me, the concept in me. Intimacy is when you see no more of man but all of God. It's when you see no more of man. In Matthew 17 and verse 8, the Bible said they saw no man but Jesus. They saw no man. When their eyes were open, they saw no one save Jesus. So intimacy is when you see no man but Jesus. When in your life all you see is Jesus, everything about you is that Jesus might be glorified. The Bible says 1 Kings chapter 18 verse 1, Elijah was speaking from verse 1, 2 and 3. He said, according to my word, the Lord God before whom I stand. Intimacy is consistency in his presence. Consistency in his presence. Before whom I stand, not whom I visit. So intimacy is consistency in God's presence. Intimacy is consistency in God's presence. That was what he said in Psalm 91 verse 1. He said, he that dwelleth in the secret place. Intimacy is dwelling and abiding. You cannot abide until you dwell. You dwell to abide. He that dwelleth in the secret place of the Most High shall abide. So the key to abiding is to dwell. So intimacy is dwelling to abide. When a person dwells in God's presence and abides in that same presence, is dwelling to abide. He that dwelleth in the secret place shall abide under the shadow of the Almighty. Am I communicating right now? Intimacy, John chapter 4 verse 24, he said, God seeketh such to worship him, and as many as worship the Lord must worship him in spirit and in truth. Intimacy is walking in spirit and truth. Walking in spirit and truth. Walking in spirit and truth. Intimacy is when you make up your mind to walk with God in spirit and in truth. No wonder David was screaming out. David knew the place of proximity and the benefit of closeness to God, benefit of oneness with God. So he said in Psalm 22 verse 11, be not far from me, O God, because trouble is near. Be not far from me, O God. Psalm 22 verse 11, because trouble is near and there is none to help. So David said, don't be far from me. I need proximity. I need intimacy. I need to be in close contact with God. So intimacy was the key. For those who walk with God and stood out, they walk on the platform of intimacy. Intimacy is when everything about you gives way so that God can have his way. Everything about your personality gives way so that God can have his way. In Psalm 73 and verse 28, Psalm 73 and verse 28, Psalm 73 and verse 28, he said it is good for us to draw near to God. Intimacy is drawing near to God. Drawing near to God. In Isaiah 29:13, and he repeated it in Matthew 15 verse 8, Isaiah 29:13, he said, therefore said the Lord, for as much as these people draw near to me with their mouth, with their lips, they honor me. He said, but I've removed their heart. So intimacy is connecting to God with your heart. Connectivity with your heart. Connectivity with your heart, not your mouth, not just your lips. According to Matthew 15 verse 8, he said, these people call upon me with their lips. He said, but their heart is far from me. So intimacy with God is when you are connected to God on the heart-to-heart basis. Intimacy is the act of getting intentional and personal with God. Is the act of getting intentional and personal with God. Intimacy, the act of getting intentional and personal with God. Intimacy is the act of being deliberate in your walk with the Spirit of God. Intimacy gives you confidence. Intimacy releases competence. When a man walks in intimacy and closeness to God, the first thing it guarantees is security. It guarantees you security. Once you are close to God, your security is guaranteed, because God has to make that paramount so that you can continue in intimacy with him. Am I speaking to somebody here?